Hello, my name's Marty Keppler, and I'm the Director of Operations for Stutsman Logistics. This is our third monthly market update, and I hope you're finding them informative. Here at Stutsman's, we feel the key to our success is building strong and lasting relationships with our customers. We work hard to understand what our customers need, and through collaboration and timely execution, we will work together to achieve mutual success. In these updates, we hope to share with you information and insights that we feel can have a significant impact on your business. Our first insight is from DAT Freight Analytics. Their dry van load-to-truck ratio is a representation of the balance or lack thereof from freight to capacity throughout the country. On the graph, you can see the 2025 ratio represented by the light gray line to the left of the graph. As we discussed in our last update, 2025 began with a very tight capacity situation due to the holiday and inclement weather. After the weather subsided, the ratio dropped and capacity loosened up. That was the situation through week 7, in which we see again a slight uptick in the ratio for loads to trucks. That is an atypical uptick and something that we feel was driven by excess freight from shippers who are trying to beat the tariffs imposed by President Trump. We feel that that is a temporary change and that the ratio will continue to drop and fall into historical norms at least through April and then level out through the remainder of the summer. It is important to note, however, that we still have more active capacity in the market than we did prior to the start of COVID. So until we see a significant exodus of carriers from the industry, or we see a significant increase in freight, the supply-demand curve will not significantly change. In this situation, the pricing leverage resides with the shipper. The basic rule of thumb is loose or excess capacity favors the shipper, tight or limited capacity favors the carrier. Our next insight is represented by a graph from FTR Intelligence and truckstop.com. This shows the impact that truck ratios and their variance has on spot rates throughout the country. This graph represents dry van spot rates in a year-over-year comparison. The green line represents rates from 2023, the gold line represents rates from 2024, and the spotted line represents a 5-year average. The blue vertical bars are the rates from 2025. As you can see at the beginning of the year, where the blue line exceeds or is higher than the gold line, that's the situation where we have tight capacity and rates were actually higher than they were in the same period of 2024. Starting in week 7, we see that slight increase where there was excess freight at the borders driving the rates up to, again, a situation exceeding the rates of 2024 by about 1.5%. It's one thing to look at what's happened with rates historically. The million-dollar question is, what are rates going to do in the future? Going back to another graph from DAT, they have a representation that predicts what's going to happen with rates over the next 35 days. Now, certainly you could go out much longer than that, but you'll also increase your risk in how accurate that prediction is. So I really like this 35-day forecast. This graph represents national dry van spot rates along with a 35-day forecast. The rates we see here represent shipments over 500 miles, and they do not include fuel surcharge. This graph takes us back to September of 2024 when dry van spot rates were in that $1.60 to $1.65 range. At the end of the year and beginning in January of 2025, we see the peak where we have to deal with the holiday and the weather events where rates exceeded $1.80 per mile. As capacity loosened and spot rates dropped to the end of February, we are now in that $1.62 per mile range for these shipments. DAT's RateCast tool has 3 predictions for rates going forward. The most probable prediction is the green line, which indicates that in the next month, by the first week in April, dry van spot rates will drop another 12 cents per mile, ending at around $1.52 per mile. If that does indeed occur, rates at that time will be 5 cents per mile below where they were in the same period of 2024. Now, we tend to focus a great deal on spot market and spot rates. However, many shippers, carriers, and brokers work with both spot rates and contract rates. DAT Services also has a graph that represents the change in contract rates from RFPs of the previous period. This graph represents dry van new rate differential. The blue on the graph reflects a change where the new rates are higher than those they replaced, and conversely, the red reflects just the opposite. On the far right of the graph, you can see the up and down addition of blue indicating a recent change where the new contract rates are coming in at about 2.5% above those rates they replaced. So given what we've seen in spot rates, we have to ask the question, why is this trend different from the spot market? My take is that this has a lot to do with margin compression experienced within the capacity side of the equation. Prolonged rate depression can cut deeply into profits for carriers and brokers alike. I believe this is an effort to regain some ground from those losses. This may also reflect a recognition from some shippers the need for long-term stability and service. What I know to be true after 35 years in this industry is working with a financially stable vendor like Stutsman's or a financially strong customer does allow transportation managers to sleep a little more soundly at night, knowing that their partner is going to be there in good times and in bad. 2025 has presented many challenges and will continue to do so throughout the year. My advice to you is to partner with someone you know has your back. Build a strong, lasting relationship, and together you'll be able to weather any storm that comes your way. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our latest update. If you need anything further, feel free to contact me, Scott Stiller, Andy Berry, or your dedicated account manager. We do appreciate the opportunity to work with you and help you move your freight. I also hope you know that no matter what, Stutsman's has your back. Thank you.